All right, welcome to the call. We've just sent out another reminder to our affiliate network company-wide to jump onto this affiliate update call. Again, this is Sal Leto, your Chief Network Officer here with Auvoria Prime. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be introducing our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Joshua Fair. He right now is actually wearing several different hats within the management structure of the company. He's not only handling the flow of finances within the company. Obviously, he was a major component in designing and implementing the right aspects of our compensation plan. He's working directly with our senior development staff. He's also working on protocols when it comes to the rules and the boundaries and the procedures related to the affiliate business. And so when there's major decisions that need to be made around placements, timelines, protocols related to running affiliate pay, a lot of that is underneath the wheelhouse of Mr. Joshua Fair. And so he has some really critical updates to cover with people that affiliates need to get trained on. And what that'll do is it'll minimize confusion. It'll remove a lot of the questions that are out there. We have a lot of frequently asked questions within the affiliate network. Our goal is to provide clarity on those things so that people don't spend time asking the same question over and over again related to their affiliate business. They could focus on what matters most, which is being creative and building their business. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass the call over to Mr. Joshua Fair, our CFO. Josh, I want to do a quick sound check. Can you speak?
Yes, I can, Mr. Saleto. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear. Go ahead and take it away. The floor is yours.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that introduction, Sal, and welcome out to the webinar, folks. Today is going to be an update webinar. We're going to be touching most of the call in the webinar on placements and auto placements and placement changes. So we're going to get into that right now. I do want you to know the context of this call. This is a more of a call to help the process of auto placements and placement change be streamlined and less of a don't do and do the type things. But part of being streamlined is letting you know what's okay, what's not okay, timelines and different things, and how the process actually works. So before I get into the rest of the slides, let me tell you how a placement change works. When somebody submits a placement change, they submit it through the back office. They click the form, they fill out the form, and it goes to me, myself. Because right now I'm the one that's managing all placement changes, all sponsor changes. If it's a sponsor change, I go directly into the policies and procedures. If it's a placement change, there's a lot of things that I need to investigate individually. One of the biggest things is, does this person have anybody placed underneath them? Because the reality is right now, when we place somebody, when somebody is placed in the tree, it automatically creates a placement tree legend for that user, but then it immediately goes through and edits the placement ledger of everybody above them in the placement tree to include them in their legend, right? So when we make a placement change, it's not necessarily as simple as just erasing their placement date, erase their placement upline, erase their placement leg. We also have to edit their legend, and then we have to edit the legend of everybody above them in the tree. So one placement change can require as many as 54 to 58 data manipulations within the database to get one placement change done. So it's a very complicated process, so we want to make sure that we're not overusing resources on placement changes that really shouldn't be taking place in the first place. So in order to do that, we're going to go through, I've got some slides prepared. We're going to go through, I'll let you know how things work and how we're going to do things moving forward from right now to help streamline this process. I know that a lot of people get very anxious. They submit a placement change request on a Saturday, and in the past we've been doing the placement changes on Friday or Thursday of the next week, because we had to allow for as many people as possible to get their placement change request in so that we could do them all at once. This is a very time-consuming process. It personally takes me 20 to 24 hours during the week, in order to do all of the research that I need to do the placement changes. And then on top of that, it takes another 10, 15 hours of support, dev support time to actually make the changes. So we're trying to streamline this. We want to make sure that it's a comfortable process. And I also want to let you know some of the things that aren't appropriate, some of the things are, that will help all of us have a much more pleasant experience in what is placement changes and auto placement. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go through this slides here real quick. I want to make sure that I have them good. So everything you need to know about placement changes. We're going to cover placement changes first, and then I'm going to talk about actual auto placements and how that happens, and what the timelines are, and when to freak out and when not to freak out, and what you guys need to know as far as, okay, if I do it by this time, then I'm okay, because a lot of people, I think, are misinformed on when they need to make their placement changes by. So in the future, moving forward from today, we will be accepting placement change requests between Sunday at 0000 hours Eastern and Tuesday, which is today, at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we've got another 3 hours today to accept placement change requests. Anybody that is after the 5 p.m. Eastern deadline will automatically not be included in this week's placement changes. And there's likelihood, due to timing, that they may be denied altogether. So all placement change requests must be submitted before Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. At that point, 5 p.m. Eastern, I will close down the form on our side. I will close down the form, and I will immediately start researching all of the placement change requests for that week that we've received between Sunday and Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. That same evening, Tuesday, once I'm done doing all of the research, an email will be sent to the requester informing them of the decision, meaning, yes, this is a valid placement change request, as well as the cost of the request. There are certain placement changes that will be free. There are certain placement changes that will not be free, and I'm going to cover that in just a second. So if the placement change was due to an obvious system error, and by that, for example, I'm going to give you an example of obvious system error. The first week, we said that we were going to do the auto placements on Saturday, right? Unfortunately, due to making sure that we had the product accessibility going, we had to move some dev hours over to there instead of the auto placements. We weren't able to do the auto placements until the following Thursday. Now, what that caused is there were some free users that upgraded on Wednesday before the auto placement took place that were auto placed. Now, if we had done the auto placement on Saturday, like we said, those people would not have been auto placed. Therefore, that's an obvious system error. So those placement changes we do free of charge because it's an obvious system error. Now, what I will tell you is not a system error is auto placements that are performed on time. If an auto placement is performed on Saturday, we start that process at noon. It ends somewhere around 6 o'clock in the evening on Saturday. If your person has been auto placed on Saturday, and it was correctly auto placed because it was in your holding tank and you did not place them before Saturday at noon, then that is not a valid placement change that would be free. Now, for all other changes that we have that are not system error, the cost is $80 for the first person and $250 for each additional person needing to be moved, up to an additional 4. Now, what this is referring to is, let's say that I enroll Sal, and Sal gets placed, and I don't like where his placement is, and so I want to move him. Now, if I have put in another 4 people and placed them under Sal, in order to get Sal back into my holding tank, the company has to put all 4 of those people under Sal back in the holding tank, plus Sal in the holding tank. So that move is 5 people. It's not 1 person, it's 5, because we have to put everybody back in the holding tank, one by one individually. So that change in that case would be $1,080 to make that one move. So this is according to policy. It's in our policies and procedures. It has been there since the get-go of the company. We've just been very lenient over the last couple of weeks just because we're just getting started. So moving forward, these charges will go into effect. However, they will not be automatic. When I do my research on a placement change, that Tuesday night, like I showed you in this screen right here, the last line there, an email will be sent to you on Tuesday evening letting you know, okay, this is a move that can be made. or this is a move that cannot be made. And if it's a move that can be made, here is the particular cost for this move. So you will be informed of it, and you will have until Wednesday. If you look at the third line here, you'll have Wednesday at midnight Eastern to approve the cost or reject it. So here's how it happens. You submit a request up to Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. From Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern until midnight Eastern, I will be doing the research and sending emails out to each person, letting them know of the approval, the rejection, and the costs associated with it. You'll have until midnight the following night to say, yes, I approve the cost. Go ahead and make this change. All approved changes will be made on Thursday, and an email will be sent back to the requester informing them that the people are back in the holding tanks and to get ready to place them. Now, you will have from that moment until Saturday at noon to place those people before the next auto placement happens. So that gives you all day Friday, from midnight Thursday, all day Friday, and even part of Thursday when you get the email notification that they're back in your holding tanks. You have all that time plus all day Friday plus until Saturday at noon to make those placements before we do the next auto placement. So that gives you, at least 30 hours, 32 hours or 36 hours to be able to do this. We do feel that that's an adequate amount of time to be able to place people before we do the next auto placement. Now, here's the thing. If we send you an email on Thursday letting you know that they're in your holding tanks, and it goes all through Thursday, all through Friday, all through Saturday up to Saturday at noon, and you have not placed those people, they will get auto placed, and if a new placement change is requested on that person, it will be automatically denied because they had already been put back into a holding tank and they weren't placed in time. Okay, the placements need to happen before Saturday at noon. If they're not by Saturday at noon, they will be automatically placed by the system according to your default settings. Now, requests that will be automatically denied. This is something that's important to cover, and it's really only 3 things. Requests, well, 4 things I just mentioned to you. Another one, if we've done a placement change for you and you failed to place them before Saturday at noon and they get auto placed, that will be automatically denied on a new round because we've already done the work, we've already taken them out, put them in your holding tank, and you had adequate time to place them. Number 2, requests are made requiring moving more than 5 people to fulfill the request. So there are people that have come to us and said, well, I want this person slotted between these other 2 people. And the problem is that under the bottom person, there's 17 people. And so what they're doing is they're saying, well, I just want to put this person above a power leg. Well, in order to do that, we actually have to put all 17 people back in their holding tanks. So that's above the 5 people. That's something that we definitely cannot do. And besides, it's also contrary to what our culture is in the company, where we really want to make sure that we're not enticing people to come over to legs just because they have people or volume. So the next thing is requests of moving people whose enrollment date is during a week that commissions have already been paid. So hold on one second here. I'm going to pull up an example of this. Hold on one second here. I'm trying to get my Zoom commands to work for me here real quick. Okay, so the example that I'm going to use here is, let's say that I enroll Sal, and Sal paid before the 27th. Well, the 27th, we just finalized the commission week 4. We cannot move anybody that is in a commission week that has already paid out. And the reason is the commissions have already been paid, and if we ever go back and try to do an audit of that pay week, we have to do it based on the placements that were there in that week. If we go through and we change those placements post that week, then when we go back and run it, it will no longer be functional. It won't work anymore. So anybody who ordered previous to the week then in question that has been closed, who enrolled in that week, and the week has already been closed out, any request of movement for those people will be automatically denied. because they are locked in based on commissions, because in order to move them, we'd have to change volume, we'd have to change people's legacy commissions, we'd have to do clawbacks. So it's not just a move at that point, it's a move plus commission adjustments for multiple people above them. And so that's just not something that is even remotely worth the vast amount of time and resources that it would take to make that request happen. And obviously requests made between Tuesday 5 p.m. Eastern and Saturday night at midnight. So again, we're only receiving requests between Sunday 0000 hours, that's after the auto placements have taken place on Saturday, and up to Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. That is the cutoff. Once we've hit the cutoff, we will not be accepting any more placement changes after that point. So that is the basics of the placement changes. You'll have until Saturday noon to place your people, and this is something that's important, placement timelines. This is moving on to not auto placements or placement changes. This is about the auto placements. And this is something that I think has been misunderstood in the compensation system or how it's been explained to people. And we want to make sure that you guys understand how this works and how the auto placement works and how commissions are calculated, so that you understand that when a commission or a placement change has been put in, there is a time frame for things, and just because it hasn't happened immediately does not mean that it affects your check. It does not mean that it affects your rank. And so we're going to go over that real quick. So we all know that the week ends Friday at midnight. Okay, well, let me give you a timeline of how things actually happen. The week ends at Friday at midnight. Saturday at noon Eastern, we go through and we begin the process of auto placements. That means everybody needs to be placed up before Saturday at noon. And if you really want to make sure, I'd say Saturday at 11 in the morning, right? Just to make sure that your placement goes through, I would just base it on Saturday at 11 o'clock. At Saturday noon, we're going to press a button that starts the script for auto placements. Okay, that means anybody who's not placed up until that point is going to get auto placed. Now, commissions are not actually run until after the auto placements have taken place. And the commissions are run using all enrollments and volume up to Friday at midnight, but they're run using the placement tree at the time of the commission run, meaning after auto placements. Okay, so we auto place everybody and then we run commissions. Now, that first run that we do, so for example, last Friday night, the commission period ended at Friday, and then Saturday at noon, we did placements. It took a couple hours to get them done. We've run commissions, the preliminary commissions. There were some bugs in it that we're fixing right now. As soon as that commission run is there, we're going to push it to the live side, and you guys will be able to see it. Now, that is not the final commission for last Friday. Because remember, there's refunds, there's things like chargebacks, there's things like placement changes. So if people notice that there are some placement changes that need to be made, they submit a ticket between Sunday and Tuesday at 5. We then make those placement changes Thursday, and then you have between Thursday and Saturday at noon to place them once we put them back in your holding tanks, right? And then Saturday, we run the auto placements for that week. Then we run the commissions for that week, and then we run the final commission for the week before. So as you can see, the people don't actually have to be placed until the Saturday after the next day Saturday after the period ends. So we've got 8 days to make sure that everybody was placed correctly before the commissions for that week are finalized. Okay, and that's why it's very important that you guys understand when you do, like we've had instances of people submitting up to as many as 6 change requests for the same person. The other thing that happens is they place request, and then they have 4 different upline leaders contact us about the same placement change request, and then they circumvent their leaders and go straight to the Jedis and tell the Jedis about the placement request. And then they circumvent the Jedis and go straight to the executives and talk about the same placement request. So somebody like me who's in the middle of investigating all of these, I have people coming at me from 7 different angles about one placement request. If you have a placement request, it will be investigated. It will be either done or not done, and you will be notified about what's going to happen and given a choice if it's going to cost, given a choice to approve that or say, no, never mind. Okay, so the one thing that I would ask to make this all a more smooth process is once you have submitted a request, there's no need to contact support about it because support has nothing to do with replacement changes. They literally can't help you with placement changes. There is no need to contact your upline about it unless it is something that is a conflict in your upline, or your organization that's causing it, and they can get that to the appropriate department within compliance. You do not need to go to the Jedis about it. The Jedis, again, they're not in a position that they can help with placement changes at all. They're completely disconnected from it. And the other executives, the other executives can say, hey, Josh, what's going on with this placement change? But more than likely, the answer that they're going to get is it's going to be investigated, and if it's appropriate, it'll be done, right? So while we understand your concern and we understand, yes, this is a business and you want to make sure you hit your ranks and all of these things, hopefully some of the information that I've given today on the call, letting you know that, look, when your ranks are calculated on that Saturday, that first Saturday, that's not the final for that ranks, and that's not the final for those commissions. That's actually done 7 days later on the following Saturday, which gives us more than enough time to if we get all of the requests in by Tuesday, to research them on Wednesday, reach the research them on Tuesday, get you out an answer, have you respond back to us on Wednesday, make all the placement changes on Thursday and notify you so that you can put them back into your tree wherever you think that they're supposed to belong, long before we do the auto placements that following Saturday and then run the commissions again. So that should give you a timeline. There is time, folks, and it's not necessarily an immediate, oh my word, this has to be changed right now. You have time, so I hope that gives you some calm knowing the actual timeline of the placement changes. And Sal, I don't know if you want to, I know that I do have one question that I'm going to go ahead and answer in here, and then I can pass it back up to you. One person submitted a question. It says, when it says up to 5 people can be moved, is that up to 5 people in one instance or 5 different instances of moves? So it is 5 people per instance. However, if we see somebody that is coming to us multiple weeks in a row, trying to do placement changes every single week, we will start putting caps on people's abilities to do placement change requests. So yes, that was an excellent question. It says 5 people can be moved. That is per instance, one instance. That means like the one I brought up where I want Sal moved, but Sal has 4 people placed underneath him. Now, if Sal has 5 people placed underneath him, that move can't be made. It's just too much. Number one, I don't think you'd want to pay, $1,330 to move those people. Number two, it literally is 20 to 25 minutes per person that would need to be moved of our development staff's time and everybody else's time. So that's just something that's just not where we're at, folks, and where we need to be focused on commission systems and product systems and integrations, and people are asking us for features for the back office, and I would much rather that our development staff is spending time on those things which help you push your business forward than placement moves that are more than likely due to human error that shouldn't have been done in the first place. So with that, Sal, do you have any extra questions? Maybe there's something that I forgot. Maybe there's something that you'd like to see some more clarification on. Is there anything that comes to your mind that I could clarify further on this call, or do you want me to just pass it back to you and you can wrap up?
Sure. I guess the only other question I'd have, Josh, I did want to take a second and just back you up on making sure people understand that where we're attempting to go as a company, we throw out these phrases saying, oh yeah, we want to be $1 billion company. There are so many extreme measures that we will have to make in our operational efficiencies. And that's why we're combing through our policies with a fine-tooth comb, looking at areas where we need to improve. And so we noticed, even though it was during launch week, there were several mistakes made by affiliates where it's completely their responsibility, making mistakes and then asking the company to spend all of our time to fix it. And just so you know, we have to build some new automation tools to improve that process. But without that, it's crazy. You know, Josh covered some of the times that it requires. If you add up all the time that was spent fixing several of these mistakes, it was literally 38 hours of development time, literally 38 hours to fix these mistakes, right? That's almost a full work week. Now for our staff, that's like half of a week because all of our team is working 10, 15, 18 hours a day. That's how we've been working throughout this whole launch. But when you think about, okay, we want to hit $1 billion, but then we're going to allocate 38 hours of development time to fixing people's mistakes, we have to address that, right? We have to take radical action, put the responsibility on the affiliate and say, okay, if you want us to divert our attention to becoming $1 billion company by just fixing mistakes, then there's going to be a penalty for that. And what that'll do, it's not to make money or to charge money. What that'll do is it'll just simply make people double check what they're doing before they take action. And that way we don't spend time fixing things. The affiliate doesn't have to spend time contacting support, getting frustrated, trying to figure out ways to fix errors, because without any consequences, then there's really no solutions, right? So consequences create solutions. And so that's our philosophy behind that. That's how we're going to reach $1 billion benchmark, because we are dead serious about that. The only other thing, Josh, I was going to ask if you could touch on just the update. If you could reiterate what we've already covered this morning on the tax forms, on how we have a department running that. If anyone's been rejected, that they're going to be receiving contact for that. Since this is an affiliate only call and people will be looking to access their withdrawal as fast as possible. If you could just touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, thank you for your patience in this. You know, we were informed late last week, right before commissions were due, about the international W8BEN form. So that was a new form that really we weren't aware of. Let me tell you the importance of that form real quick, and then I'll tell you how the process is going. So there's two tax forms. There's a W9 and there's a W8BEN. The W9 is a individual contractor form for the United States government that allows us to pay you as an affiliate without taking taxes out of your pay. The same thing, it's very new policy that's come out. Most network marketing companies don't abide by some of this, but there is a form called the W8BEN that is required for payments to affiliates outside of the United States. Now, the reason why it's required for you to fill that out is so that we don't have to take 30% of your commissions as a withholding to pay to the U.S. government. Because you don't work in the U.S., you're not from the U.S., therefore you're really at what's called an exempt status. You're exempt from paying U.S. income tax. If we do not have this form, however, at the end of the year, the U.S. government will come after us and will say, hey, you need to pay us 30% or more of all of this money you paid out to your international affiliates. So that's why we have to have the W8BEN. Otherwise, moving forward, we would have to take 30% out of all of your checks to cover the cost of what would be income tax from the U.S. government. So as you're not U.S. Employees, as well, same thing as the U.S. people, you're not employees, you're 1099 contractors. This allows us to pay you with zero tax taken out so that you get the full amount of your commissions. Now, previously, up until yesterday, anybody who filled out the form wrong was just getting auto-rejected. And I know it was frustrating for several people that had submitted the form 5, 6, 7 times and couldn't figure out why they were being rejected on their form. As of yesterday, the W9 W8BEN compliance has been turned over to our compliance department, to Mariska, and she's been doing a fantastic job. And so what she is doing is she's going into the form individually, and if she sees that you forgot to sign it, she's sending you an email that says, hey, you forgot to sign this form, please sign it and resubmit. If, for example, on the W8BEN, the one thing that we've seen missing more often than not is the section 10. And section 10, again, that's the section that's very important that makes sure that you're not going to have money taken out of your commissions and withheld for U.S. taxes. So very importantly needs to be filled out, the section 10. Now, we have produced a video for that. You can search it on the announcements in your back office. We have placed a visit. It's also in the affiliate chat. We have placed a video that tells you how to fill out the W8BEN, and it walks through every single field that needs to be filled out. So as long as you follow the instructions on the video, you shouldn't have any problem with that. And we are trying to get to these as close to real time as possible. I think there's a total of 3 or 4 right now that are needing approval. And I know Mariska is on top of that because she's doing a fantastic job on that. So that's what those W9 and W8BEN are for. I do see, Grace, that you say the W9 doesn't allow you to sign it. I will tell you that we have a number of people that have sent it in signed. So I would say contact support directly, Grace, and figure out how to be able to sign the W9. And I'm sure that they can help you out. Another question that we got, will all of this information on placement changes be available on the support Zendesk so we can refer back to it if needed? Yes, I will be contacting support, and this information that was shared today will be given to support to put into the Zendesk. And does AP send the info to the other countries, or is it our own responsibility to give that info to our own country? Yes. So when you are a non-USA resident, we send that to our government only. And what that does is that is our protection against the government coming and taking money that was supposed to be paid on taxes that you received. As far as tax reporting in your own country, David, you are personally responsible for reporting your income from us to your own government through your own accounting systems. We do not send any information out to your governments. And then the last one, Greg says, do we need to set up an Uphold account? If you want to receive commissions from today that were sent out or yesterday that were sent out, then yes, absolutely. Unless you're willing to wait the next a little more than a week, we will have the DaVinci payment system set up to where it is a pay card that you can transfer onto that. And we will be adding Skrill as well. So if you have either an Uphold account or a Skrill account, or within the next little bit here, we will be pushing DaVinci Payments Live, which is our own branded pay card. And from that pay card, you can transfer, you can transfer to bank account, you can use it as a Visa card, you can do that type of stuff as well. So hopefully that answers. Sal, is there anything else you want to cover? I don't have any more questions from everybody else.
Perfect. Nope, that just about did. I do want to thank everyone. We have over 115 affiliates jumping on this middle of the day call. So thank you for your commitment and allowing us to do this during this time. We wanted to have a dedicated call just for the affiliates instead of covering these items on a general update call that's more geared towards our customer base. So thank you guys. And we don't forget we have the 3 p.m. Eastern presentation coming up with Mr. Alan Delaney. We have the 4 p.m. Eastern 8-figure mentorship call where we're going to cover the values and strategies needed to cover to run an 8-figure annual revenue business that we're going to cover, as well as affiliate recognition. We also have the 8:30 p.m. Eastern presentation call. So it's still a packed schedule for the rest of the day. Make sure you're plugging people in. Mr. Joshua Fair, thank you for preparing this call and doing such a good job getting this critical information out there, and wish everyone a great rest of the day.